Hey everyone, welcome to yet another session on the Kubestronaut Cohort Check-in, AWS AI Cohort Check-ins. Now, my name is Mumshad, and I'm with Michael Forrester, and we'll be your host for today. So this is our bi-weekly check-in for those who are new here, and we go through and look at the progress in the cohorts, and we celebrate those who have recently completed the certifications, and we share updates about what's happening at KodeKloud and what you can expect in the future. So lots of exciting things to discuss today, and we'll get started. And if you're here, wherever you're from, do let us know in the chat who you are, your name, as well as where you're from. And if you have any questions throughout, please do drop them in the chat sessions, comments below. All right. So yeah, hey Michael, welcome to the session.
Hi. Good day. Yeah, looking forward to the session today. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, you seem to be at a different location today.
Yes, I am definitely in a location that is violating all of the proper constraints around lighting, and so I'm getting full sun as we're kind of into this.
Yeah. So just so we all know, like where are you located? Which part of the world really?
So usually I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and right now I'm in Austin, Texas, actually. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
In the south.
Yeah. So we have a couple of them share their message in the chat. So this is Didi from Germany, just passed the CKA today with your help. Oh, congratulations, Didi. That's just right on time. And let us know what you're up against next. Do keep us posted in the comments. We have Ali Reza. Hey, Ali. Is that our Ali Reza?
Maybe.
Okay. It's created a few courses for us. We have Lindsay from Atlanta, GA, USA here. That's your place, right, Michael?
Yeah, that's my hometown right there.
Yeah.
I welcome Lindsay. Also, it's worth mentioning that if it is Alariza, right, then he actually co-created the AI Practitioner course with us. So It's great to have him on. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, let's dive in. And today we'll start with sharing updates about those who have recently completed the certifications. So in the future, if you'd like us to feature you, please do send me a message, or any of us a message on LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to feature you on these calls. We'll also share a little bit about some of the upcoming course updates. We'll check in on the cohort progress, as well as and Michael's going to share a little bit about AI-powered learning, DevOps learning paths and tools. So AI, we've been getting a lot of questions regarding how to upskill in this AI era. How do you use AI tools in your workflows, and where to get started and how to get started with the AI, learning journeys in AI. Yeah. So if you're new to all of that, if you have those questions, then do stay tuned, because Michael is going to walk us through a bunch of material that is put together around that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a bunch of Kubernetes rock stars. We have Sesha Sai Naishadam, who is a DevOps and site reliability engineer. He's recently completed the CKA certification, so congratulations to Sesha Sai. We have Pablo Salvador, who's recently completed the CKAD, so congratulations to Pablo. We have Taimur Ali Yaqub, who's recently completed the CKA certification. We have Pratibha, who's recently become a Kubestronaut, completing all the 5 certifications. So congratulations to Pratibha. We have Stas, who's recently also become a CNCF Kubestronaut, completing all the 5 exams. So congratulations to Stas. We have Jan Borzanski, who's recently completed the CKA certification. He's a DevOps engineer, so congratulations to Jan. We have Marcos Herrera, who's also completed all the 5 certifications to become a Kubestronaut. Congratulations to Marcos. We have Larry Lai, who's completed the Golden Kubestronaut? Yeah, earned the Golden Kubestronaut badge. Awesome stuff. Yeah, so that's completing the 14, 15 certifications. So congratulations. That's a huge one. And we have Vitali, who's recently completed the CKA certification. So congratulations to everyone. We also have a few other those who have completed a few other certifications as well. So we have Aditya, who is a technical architect at Luminor, and he is on his way to achieve the Golden Kubestronaut, cleared 12 of 16 certifications overall, and has recently completed the CNPA, Cilium, and Kyberno. So congratulations to Aditya. We have Anthony Williams, who recently completed the CNPA certification. He's a DevOps engineer. And we have Kurki Ramesh, who's recently completed the certified GitOps associate certification. So congratulations. We have Samit Singh, who's recently completed the Istio certification. So that's kind of a tough one. So congratulations to Samit. And we have Yoga, who's recently completed the site reliability. He's a site reliability engineer at Trimble, and he's recently completed the Microsoft Azure Administrator Associate certification. And we have Santosh, who's recently done the Argo CD, the GitOps Certified Associate certification on the way to Kubestronaut. So congratulations once again to everyone who's recently completed the certs. An update on CubeCon. So yeah, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be at CubeCon, CloudNativeCon Europe. So if you happen to be in the area, please do attend and come by and meet us at our booth. So we have a booth. We also have a few talks that are lined up. So we have about 3 sessions that are lined up for CubeCon. So Michael and I'll be delivering a session on how Kubernetes actually ships. This is at the Cloud Native University, and that's happening on the 24th of March. And we have Abhinav, who's our engineer, and he'll be delivering a talk on backend first IDP. So that's again happening at the Cloud Native Theater on the 23rd of March. And we have Norhan, who will be delivering a talk on AI on Kubernetes without the chaos. And this is happening on the 24th of March. So yeah, if you happen to be there, do register for these sessions and come and visit us.
Yeah. What is that, like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks away now?
Yeah, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really excited about this. You all set, Michael?
I think so. A few more, practice runs just to shake the nerves out, and I think we're good to go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So the cohorts, we are at cohort 5 of all the cohorts. So we have successfully completed the two cohorts. And so if you happen to start the cohort 5, join us in cohort 5. That's beginning of this year. So you must be going through the CKA right now and should be aiming to complete the CKA either by end of March or around April. And if you're a path 2, then you should probably going through the CKAD. And you can go to cohorts.kokloud.com to waitlist for the future cohorts that you'll be working on, or if you're already in the cohorts, to check your progress. Go in and check over there. And we also have, I think there's a code if you'd like to purchase a discount from the Linux Foundation. So we're a partner, and you can get a 30% off. So using the code. So check that out. All right. So yeah, over to you, Michael. Let's walk through what we have for today.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. So I think one of the things, just a very short backstory, is that Mumshad, if I remember correctly, you and I have been talking about Gen AI since it first came out, because you and I were both using Jasper, and then in November of 2022, ChatGPT came out, and you and I were like inactive about once a month, maybe once every 2 weeks, discussions, just as side discussions about the impact of this over time. So I mentioned that because I think Mumshad and I have been looking at this for years now, and have been right in the middle of all the tooling and all the stuff around AI. And the reason I mentioned this, and like, why are we talking about this in a cohort that has Kubernetes and has like, the certified AI practitioner, like certification in it. We always get questions when we're running these live streams about how do I, upskill, or what skills do I chase, or does KodeKloud have courses about AI? And of course, one of the certifications is the AI fundamentals course. So Mumshad and I were talking, we thought, you know what, let's just talk about this for a second. Let's just take a little sidestep and talk about our perspective on where DevOps is headed from an AI agentic standpoint. So you're going to hear me use the word agentic. And what does KodeKloud have in that direction? Because we've invested heavily in this, actually. So we've got a significant investment, not just beyond the cloud, the certifications. So I think we wanted to make sure that you were aware that not only are we chasing the CNCF and supporting all the certifications, but we are supporting the evolution of DevOps engineering from kind of, I'll say, the traditional space that it's been for the last 10 years, to the AI space. So I just want to give context, like that's why we're going to talk about it. So
yeah, agree. So and I think I've been getting a lot of questions from everyone, both internally and externally, on where things are headed, and it's in everyone's minds. And is AI going to replace engineers, or AI going to replace Kubernetes? And these are kind of the questions that I get very often. And I think it's important to kind of talk about that and share our perspectives on it, and how anyone can kind of upskill and get in on the trend and get themselves upskilled in this era. So thanks a lot for putting this together, and let's get going.
Let's dive in. Yeah. Okay. So with that in mind, I think the traditional DevOps role, I think we can easily say that the DevOps role is evolving. I mean, kind of like cloud before it, and then Kubernetes, and then all of Kubernetes and CNCF, and then platform engineering. There's been this kind of accumulation of technologies, and AI now sits at the top of all of that right now. And so there's the traditional kind of like, hey, we're managing software, we're doing pipelines, automation was the biggest outcome. And then in the last few years, we've seen, oh, hey, let's use Cursor, or let's use, GitHub Copilot, or let's use Claude and ChatGPT. Let's help it write our Terraform scripts and help it assist us as we code. And that's probably been the last few years. And then probably middle of last year, and definitely this year, we're seeing this kind of, can DevOps interact with agents who are doing the toil tasks? Like they're doing security, they're running tests, they're helping to kind of run incident management and check logs and look for anomalies and pieces like that. And so there's now in 2026, there's now this push of like, hey, can some of these tasks be offloaded to generative AI and let them run autonomously and independently with a very kind of independent and small scope? Like, I'm just going to do security, or I'm just going to check the logs on a regular basis, or I'm going to check uptime. That scope is going to get bigger, but we're seeing kind of trajectory-wise, and just to say this, we are notoriously horrible at predicting the future, but we can kind of tell directionally where things are headed. And definitely things are headed to where the LLMs are taking on more of the implementation and the toil tasks that typically would be an engineer doing that. So you're seeing this kind of, we have what we've been doing, then what we've been doing for the last few years, and kind of what's been happening for the last 3 to 6 months, and is probably about to happen for the next 12, is that we're seeing more of that agent, independent LLM kind of run. So our skills, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I think I was getting to the same before you move on. So if you were to look at someone, say I'm a DevOps engineer, and I've been I probably started my career as a sysadmin, started doing a lot of Linux and administration tasks, and then eventually upskilled myself to learning everything about DevOps. So now I'm learning containers and learning infrastructure as code and all of that. So past couple of years, maybe maybe half a decade, I've spent learning these tools and understanding them. And when AI came around, I think the first thing that people did were ask ChatGPT to generate, say, code, maybe Terraform code or Ansible code, or write Docker files and things like that. Got us to a point, and then we switched into using IDEs and Cursor and Cloud Code and everything to do that part for us, create files for us. So that part where we got ChatGPT to write stuff, or we got an editor to write stuff, that's basically the AI enhanced DevOps part. But then now when we ask an agent, say like Cloud Code, to kind of dig into my infrastructure, find things for me and fix them, or recommend fixes for them, and even fix them maybe with an approval process.
Right.
So that's the agentic part that we're getting to, right? So just so I understand that whole flow, right? So if that is the case, then I think what the worry for most people is like, how is that going to impact the skills, all the skills that I learned. So I've spent like the past 5 years learning Ansible, Terraform, maybe Chef, Puppet, and Docker, Kubernetes. What happens to all of those skills? And is that relevant at all? Is that useful? I think that's kind of what's on everyone's minds.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because imagine we have, like, just to use an analogy, we have self-driving cars. And so you spend most of your time driving in a car that you don't control. But when something goes wrong, you now have to take over and be an expert at driving, even though you're not driving anymore regularly. Right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, because I think that's kind of where things are headed, is that the skills that we're learning now might actually be more valuable than ever in the moment where the automation fails. But the problem is that we won't be practicing them regularly. So it's actually more important than ever that we try to maintain some level of sharpness, because when we do need them, it means something has gone catastrophically wrong. So that's my supposition, but there's probably more to that. So we'll look at the rest of this and see if we can answer that question in more depth. So I think if we're talking about traditional versus AI assisted DevOps versus agentic DevOps, we tend to think of it as either way, as like, how can we learn AI as a skill? How can we learn with AI, like have AI assist us in how we're learning things? And then how can we practice this in environments? Because we want to get hands-on. Because one thing that hasn't changed is, when you go multimodal with learning, where it's not just taking in videos and it's not just hearing the words and it's not just taking notes, but then you're actually crafting something and you're doing things and you're correcting outputs, that still remains the best way to learn, is to go like not just take things in, but also interact with it, which is why, the KodeKloud even exists, right? Is that we want people to get hands-on learning, not just the expertise, but also the experience as well. So we think of it as these three layers. Is like, first, let's learn AI as a skill. So this is where, for example, you would learn, and you can see the courses listed there, but like prompt engineering. This is where you would learn things like, oh, how do I understand how OpenAI functions? This is where things like AI Practitioner, which is the very cohort that we're in now, this is where that would make sense, because you learn the fundamentals of what AI is, and you learn the fundamentals of how to interact. You learn things like, what is context engineering? What is prompt engineering? What does temperature mean? What does when we say tokens or embeddings, like what do those words actually mean when you hear someone say them in relation to generative AI? You kind of get the foundations, and then you can get more advanced if you want to, or you could even go to the next step. You don't necessarily have to go to intermediate or to advanced. Is that you might say, okay, what are the frameworks that the developers are using? And infrastructure engineers. So I want to make sure the infrastructure engineers, that you feel like you're included in this, right? Because it's not just developers who are using these frameworks. Infrastructure engineers are using these frameworks to create the agents that we were talking about earlier as that third evolution. And I want to make sure that you, as you like Kubestronauts and golden Kubestronauts and sysadmins, you understand your importance. You cannot automate a workflow that you don't understand. And most developers don't understand operational workflows just because they're not operators and they're not actually doing the operations work, right? So you got to keep that in mind, is that it actually does require an operator to create some of these agents, because these workflows require an operator to understand it. And so in this particular case, you probably learned like LangChain or a LangGraph or any of the AI assisted stuff, or the frameworks that would help you craft either at least a simple agent or maybe even something more complex. And then the third tier, advanced, is that you're into advanced frameworks. You might be creating machine learning, models. You might be creating multi-agent frameworks. You might learn, MCP, which is basically a tool enabler for generative AI. our learning path says, let's learn these foundations so you can learn AI as a skill. And these are the 3 different levels that we look at. Now, we also, because we are learn by doing, right, we also want to make sure that there isn't just like a pure, like, let's learn AI kind of path, that there's also a hands-on path. And I'm going to throw a term out here, and Mumshad and I have talked about this quite a bit, actually, because there's an industry definition for AI ops, and then there's kind of the evolving evolution of AI ops. So when you see this word AI ops, you might think, oh, is this ML ops? Is this machine learning? Is this DevOps? Like, there's a bunch of ops kind of prefixes that live in this space, and it can get very confusing very fast. And so DevOps is just obviously the one where we're trying to like flow and, you know, create automation, and we're trying to, you know, create CI/CD pipelines and, you know, trying to manage deployments and this. And it's like, that's the whole traditional DevOps is kind of like the traditional evolution of like, we're going to automate this. We're going to not create silos. Like, it's the traditional definition that most of us now are pretty crisp on. ML ops is where that same DevOps team might be providing data and models to a machine learning or a data science team. ML ops is remarkably applicable in the age of generative AI, but it's not a term that's commonly used outside of like data scientists, machine learning specialists. You don't see it a lot, but it's been co-opted. Like, it's been expanded to say, hey, if I was a DevOps guy and I had to provide data and models and other stuff to data scientists and developers and people who are going to use it, can I use ML ops to figure that out? And the answer is, of course you could. Then there's AI ops. AI ops has actually been around since 2017. And originally it meant I have a third-party system like a Datadog or a Dynatrace or a New Relic or an App Dynamics, and I've added something in to that like system where it's AI like related. For example, let's say you are monitoring logs and you want to look for changes in the logs automatically. No humans are doing this. Just you're looking for changes in the logs and you want those flagged, and then you want a human to be notified. That's traditionally what AI ops meant. And by the way, that's called anomaly detection. You're detecting anomalies in a standard pattern. And that is one aspect of what AI ops used to be. Now, AI ops is that plus what can we do to kind of like put into production, to operationalize, because we're all operators, right? So whether you're a DevOps or you're an ML ops or you're an AI ops, we're trying to put into operations some kind of piece of software, whether it's a stateful application, a data like stateless application, a database, or a machine learning model like a generative AI model. We're trying to operationalize. We're trying to put something into operations, into production. And so AI ops, instead of being the old definition of just like, oh, is this anomaly detection? Is it part of some third-party service? Is it part of some piece of software? It's starting to slowly be co-opted to where it's like, well, can AI ops mean how do we put generative AI into production? And so our courses here, you'll see some of the old definition, like number 2, for example, applied ML for AI ops. It says anomaly detection. It says log clustering. It says forecasting, right? That's taking machine learning and applying it to an existing system. Notice you don't necessarily see generative AI models in this course flow, but don't worry, that's coming, right? And the reason I say that is if you look at number 6 there where it says ML ops for AI ops, that's actually ML flow and Kubeflow. That's the ability to stick models into production. So we're starting to cross the line where it's the traditional AI ops definition, and then we're kind of expanding into the ML ops kind of, in a sense, like LLM ops kind of definition. So just know that not only are we asking you to, hey, here's the skills you can build, but we've also got this learn by doing path that lets you really experience what the old definition of AI ops is, and kind of what seems to be the new evolving definition of like, hey, can I stick generative AI into production and like operationalize it? Can I deploy it? Can I monitor it? Can I secure it? So just clarify that.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I think, a common, I guess, area of confusion for a lot of people when they hear the word AI ops. Like, we're naturally, lean towards thinking that this is operations for AI rather than AI assisting in our previous like existing operations, right? Which is anomaly detection and AI injected into the monitoring tools and the log clustering tools and giving us insights based on that. That has been the traditional definition of AI ops. But is that, do you see people refer to AI ops as more ops for AI and AI workloads and for building and managing AI? Is that really getting kind of popular?
Yeah. So what I'm seeing is in like what you described, which is that like, hey, we've
Yep. You there?
just a second. Apologize. So what we've got is we've got AI like injected into operational workflows. So I agree with that, Mumshad. I think that's a great definition. And then you've got, like you said, AI for deploying and enabling AI, right? And I think what we're seeing is that we're seeing some of that evolution, but I think the term that I'm hearing the most now is actually what we showed on this slide. And I'm going to go back to this so we can see it, is that this agentic DevOps seems to be the more like centered on term, even more than a second definition around the AI ops. So we're seeing a shift where people are saying, well, now we're talking about agentic DevOps. And that seems to, in a sense, encompass the deployment of models as well as using models as agents. So there seems to be kind of an interesting shift there. But I just want to say your question is valid, and I mean, you tell me because you're just as involved in the industry as I am. It seems like we haven't centered on a good definition for the things that we're talking about just yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, from the research I've done, because it was originally a bit confusing to me, because when I first heard the term, that's what naturally kind of occurred to me. But like when I read about it, if you go to the IBM blogs and the blog posts that really talk about AI ops, it's all centered around injecting AI into the ops and getting insights from our monitoring and logging and operations. So makes sense.
So it's funny because we're still just talking about learning as AI as the skill, and we're already kind of this deep into like details. Because I mean, and I think this is why we agreed that we would talk about it, because I think it is confusing for people, and like we're in the middle of this, and so if we don't have clarity, it must look very confusing from someone coming from the outside in. So, and I think we have some clarity, like we know where things are kind of headed. We know that these are the general agreed upon definitions, but again, this is living, breathing technology, so it's going to change over time. So we've got courses. We've got also our Learn by Doing path, right? Because for people who want to get right into the AI ops traditional and some evolution into the new definition of AI ops. And then, of course, just to mention this, we have obviously certification prep for the few certifications that are available related to generative AI. I just want to say, and unless this has changed, Mumshad, you tell me if you've heard of anything. Currently, other than the cloud providers and NVIDIA, I don't know of anyone who has any generative AI certifications to date, right? It's either college courses or people are just, creating their own individual certifications.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what I've seen too. Like what you've listed there are the top ones, and Google too. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, Google.
Yeah. Sets as well.
Yeah, and we, by the way, just so people ask us all the time about recency, Mumshad raises a good point. We do know that, like for example, Google, Microsoft and Google and AWS are all coming out with more certifications. So like AWS is coming out with the Gen AI Professional, Developer Professional. Microsoft has, I think, 2 or 3 kind of business leader beginner AI courses coming out, right? So yeah, and so just know, and we're keeping an eye on the whole space. NVIDIA, by the way, has 10 certifications now for generative AI. I will say this, NVIDIA has more infrastructure DevOps certifications than anybody else thus far. At last look, there was 4 DevOps infrastructure certifications for NVIDIA. But I just want to mention it is for NVIDIA's product ecosystem. So if you're looking for something that's not outside of that, NVIDIA is not going to be your choice. stick with the cloud ones if you're looking for something a little bit more generic. Yeah. So the other thing is that we talked about agentic. So there's several courses on our platform, like ADK. There's Crash Course on AI powered DevOps. We've got N8N, right, for automation and workflows. We've got AI agents. We've got AI agents fundamentals by Caleb, which is also out on the courseware as well. So we have an AI agents and an AI agents fundamentals course. We have AI assisted Ansible, as you can see there. We've got MCP. We've got RAG. We've got vector database. We've got a bunch of items out there. And I'll show the learning path here in a second. But there's a bunch for the agentic DevOps where we think kind of everything is kind of headed. So to post a question, Mumshad, that you asked, is like, well, what do I do with my existing skills? You keep them and you add, I know it's going to sound crazy, you add more skills on top of those skills that you already have. Some of those are going to normally atrophy over time, but you do have them in your back pocket. And I just want to throw this out there. You might say, but Michael, that sounds impossible. And I understand. I just want to mention is that when I first got into the industry, there was no cloud. And then cloud became a thing. So you acquired cloud skills. And then, not even 7 years, 8 years later, Docker and Kubernetes come out. So then you acquire Docker and Kubernetes skills. So now you've got Docker and Kubernetes skills, you've got some cloud skills, and then you have the old kind of sysadmin skills that you had before, Linux and all that. And then now, then platform engineering comes out and you figure that out. And so, if it feels like, oof, like we're adding yet one more thing, don't get too overwhelmed. Skills will naturally fall away as you don't use them. So like, I'm still pretty good at Linux and I'm still really good at VI and I'm still really good at text and bash scripting. But if you were to say, hey, Michael, how are you at Windows? Well, I used to be a Windows administrator. I used to be MCSE and all the other stuff. That skill is completely gone, right? I couldn't administer a Windows box now because I haven't kept up with the technology. So just know, as you work on projects and as you keep an eye on the industry, those things will naturally evolve and certain segments of your skills will fall away, and that's totally okay, right? Like I used to know Docker Swarm really well. Docker Swarm's not the thing, Kubernetes is, right? So I don't really know Docker Swarm as well as I used to, right? But I know Kubernetes really well because that's the one that stayed dominant. So just keep that in mind if you're like looking at this and you're like, holy cow, you're like, Mumshad, Michael, you're gonna be kidding. Like, you've added more stuff here. And it's like, it's okay. Like your projects and what you chase and what you learn are gonna form the basis of your skill set. And so just let it be okay that some things just fall off because that's natural. So and don't worry, the industry will give you signals.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. Like as you build experience in the industry, I don't think you should worry that all of a sudden one day you're just going to be irrelevant, right? I mean, that's never going to happen. It's just everything is going to add up. And, as you said, like things that were not important, are naturally going to die away. But like if you stack all of the skills that you have with AI and anything that's new and kind of 10x your productivity or your efficiency and now you can do a lot more because you have a lot more of that foundational knowledge than anyone else, and then you add AI on top of that, and you have enough. I mean, the gaps that you had earlier could now be filled a little bit with AI, and you can learn as you use AI, learn with AI, as you had it in one of the slides. So I think all of those are going to stack up and make you like really, really valuable if you do the right thing now, which is upskill on some of the AI technologies that are in there, and see how you can use that to make yourself like really, really valuable.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. Then this is just more of showing like our catalog. Like we also have SageMaker, and I think I mentioned the AI agent fundamentals, running agent like models with Olama, which is super cool. Olama is a fun local system. I think the other thing is in addition to just the course catalog, is that we do actually have on our site, right? And it does vary a little by membership, right? But we do have on our site ways to actually have AI help you. So in addition to learning AI as a skill, we have the ability for you to have an assistant support you in labs. And you'll usually see it when you're in the labs, you'll see like the little beta tab. And the interesting thing about our AI assistant is it's actually looking at your labs. It's actually seeing what you're doing, right? And the reason this is significant for you to be aware of is that one thing we know in like learning and education is that personalized tutoring is the #1 enhancer of learning outcomes, hands down. You can practically say that at any industry education conference or to any educator, and they'll be like, if you have a tutor of any type, whether it's an AI tutor or like a human being, tutoring and personalization are going to guarantee the greatest learning outcomes. So especially when you're stuck in a lab and it's like, let's say it's 2 o'clock in the morning somewhere, although we're pretty 24/7, so you're hard pressed to catch us offline. And you're stuck on a lab, and let's say no one's responding on the forums, and you just really want to understand what's happening. This is one of those great ways where you can actually get feedback immediately, and it will look at what you're doing and help you get unstuck. In addition, the tutor, right, which again, you can actually find it in our course catalog. The tutor, by the way, will answer questions that you might get stuck on. Now, I know a lot of you have ChatGPT, and I know a lot of you have Claude and Anthropic, and I know you have things. This is also, by the way, inside the platform. So if you don't have access to those, it's right here, like so you can see it if you have that level of membership. And so just something to be aware of is that we are trying to inject enhancements to help you learn better, quicker, faster, easier, in addition to learning AI as a skill. It's also worth mentioning that, very similar to kind of like an LLM gateway or like a generative AI gateway, we have a plug and play API key that will allow you to get access to multiple models if you want to do some programmatic playing around. So CodeKey is also something that we have, just as a feature to enable your ability to play with multiple models, right? And of course, the last is that we actually have a lot of practice in real environments. So like if I were to switch gears for a second and just show our learning paths, right, you'll see a lot of the courses that I just talked about are like right here. Like this is for all engineers, this is for non-technical users. And if you want to go over to practice, right, you can get into our sandbox environments and notice there's a whole category of artificial intelligence. So you can come in here and play with Moonshot, you can play with Claude Code, you can play with these here inside our environments. Now, I want to be very forthright. We can't give you unfettered access to the most powerful, unlimited, like rate unlimited thing in the entire world. It would break us, and it would probably, honestly probably break the learning as well. But know that you can get access to get in here and play with a lot of these things. Like for example, Claude Code, you can see like what is a command line assistant, what makes it different, what can you do with it, and you can actually, oh look, it says that we're live right now. You can launch it and play with it, and you don't have to worry about setting up your own all that. You can just come in here and play with it. In some cases, you might need a key, but for the most part, you come in here, you set it up, you use it, and it works great.
Yeah, and the other, I think one of the things to highlight is CodeKey, which is maybe do you want to just open that? It's right there in the list.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And if you're not aware of this, so if you probably don't have a paid subscription to any of the LLM models, OpenAI or Anthropic, but if you are a part of KodeKloud, then you get access to a million tokens that you can use against any of these models. There are a bunch of models that are listed there. And if you just want to use it for educational and training purpose, just understand if you're starting out and want to understand how these work without worrying about being overcharged with token and for tokens or security. If you don't want to be worried about hitting security limits, then this is a safe kind of playground that you can go to, and the keys are rotated every hour or so. So a safe way for you to play around, and there are a lot of models there that are really popular that you can use.
Yeah, that's very useful, especially if you want to just experiment and play with something. So yeah. So playgrounds are listed there, and so as you can see, we showed a bunch of them, including MCP and CodeKey and any of like the limited but SageMaker models, as well as Codex, Claude Code, Moonshot, etc. So just know that that's available to play with. So we're not only interested, obviously, in you learning all of the concepts, which of course our courses include labs as well, but also the playgrounds and of course all the tooling that we talked about. So just know that these are options inside of our environment. We are trying to make sure that you have access to the things that you need to have access to when it comes to making sure that you are able to evolve your skills. Now, this is a question for both of us, Mumshad, is I get asked this a lot. Like, what's the one thing I could start with today that like either of you, right? This is a question I actually got in LinkedIn. Either of you feel would like move us forward. I have a particular answer that I give. I can go first if you want to, but if you have an idea, I'd love to hear it. But I usually have a thing that I say to people that is usually somewhat not controversial, but like it's unexpected, right? When I'm like, hey, what do I do if I've learned all these traditional skills? What's the next thing that I do in order to kind of evolve and get into the whole AI thing, right? Maybe your response is the same as mine. I usually say, just start using it. Like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if it's Cursor. It doesn't matter if it's GitHub Copilot. It doesn't matter if it's Claude Code. Just start using it to start writing the things that you're probably doing by hand. Like just start using it. If you want to get Claude Code to write it, great. If you want to get Cursor to write it, great. If you want to use Klein, great. Like don't get hung up on the tool as much. I mean, and I have my own personal opinions and I'm sure you do as well about which ones I think are my favorites. But in general rule of thumb is that don't sit there and get paralyzed about like, ooh, what's the right thing? Just start using it. That's my general statement.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's that's something I would recommend too. I think that the most important thing is just start using it, and then you learn on the go. Maybe one of the things I could add is, to me at least, whenever I'm learning something new, I found that I can't learn just for the sake of learning. Like I can't just I can't just decide, okay, I need to learn this particular tool just because I want to just stay up to date on it. I find it very hard to do that. Instead, I want, if it has something to do with whatever I'm already working on, if it can improve my workflow, if it can improve whatever I'm building, then I get really excited about it, and then I can dig in and I can learn and I can spend as much time as I want. So I need to have like some kind of purpose associated with it, some kind of project. So this could be a project that I'm working on internally, and then I would decide, okay, I'm going to use. I might have templates for that project. I might have done similar things in the past, but I'm going to work on it. But this time, I'm going to use an AI tool to help me build it, or I'm going to integrate an AI tool in the project for the sake of kind of learning it, right? Or this could be another thing that's always helped me is for like creating courses too. Learn it so that I can create some kind of content out of it, some kind of course out of it. Again, kind of gives me a purpose. So then I'm not just like learning something for like 10 minutes and deciding that I'm done. Instead, now I have to like really research and I have to spend time, and now I have a purpose attached to it. So it just really helps me push that boundary, right? So yeah, that's kind of my take on that.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think when I say use it, you're absolutely right. I think that's a great addition, like clarification of like, hey, make sure you're using it for something meaningful, either work or something that you really love, that you are passionate about. Yeah. I totally agree with that. That's a great qualifier. Yeah, because otherwise, you're right. It's like, like some people will look at K-Agent, like for example, is one of the courses here, and be like, do I need to know K-Agent? It's like, well, hold on. What are you doing for work? What are you interested in? Are you studying? Are you chasing something? It's like, make sure there's a good why, right? For doing it. Yeah.
Which is why I felt like certifications are also a decent why for a lot of learning, because otherwise you learn something and then you decide after a couple hours that I've learned enough, that's enough for me. But like a certification, because it has a structure to it and you have to complete certain modules, it's always been a clear why. So in the early days of my career, that was a big driver for me, to put credentials on my resume and I was never, I didn't really have a lot of opportunities at work to work on like some of the really interesting stuff that I wanted to work on. And one of the hacks I found was to kind of commit to something else, either a certification or maybe to give a talk somewhere, or maybe an internal presentation too. Like I would take up like commit to like giving a training internally to a team on something new, and then now I have to do it. Like there's no other way. So I kind of use that as an opportunity to kind of go deep into that technology and learn that for myself.
That's a good point. There have been certifications where I forced myself to sign up for the certification to get the thing done instead of waiting to see if I was ready to pass the practice exams before I would sign up for the certification. I think that's a great commitment, right?
Yeah.
They say that business owners who commit fully to a business with no fallback plan are typically more successful than those who are kind of like half in, half out. So that kind of makes sense a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. And what a way to alleviate like boredom, like when you're like working in something and you're like, okay, I've kind of learned this workflow and I'm doing this job and it's good, but I'm really passionate about something else. And then you chase the certification. It's like, and then you get validation at the end where it's like, oh, here you go. You did it. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people are fond of certification and going after it, right? Because it's not like everything you learn in the certification are things that you do at work, but it's like really a good driver, a motivator for keeping ourselves accountable and getting things done. And that's kind of what I like about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it too. Obviously, since we both have certifications. So just to make sure I'm mindful of time, is that, just to say this is that we've covered like quite a few things, but I think that hopefully the thing you walked away with is one, just get started and pick something meaningful, as Mumshad said, right? Something that you feel like would be compelling either to help your career or to chase the thing that you're most interested in. And really, there are tons of courses on our website, at least 30 plus, around frameworks, AI assisted development, AI, the different tools, everything from Claude Code to Klein to whatnot. And then we do have AI playgrounds. We have a tutor. We have a learning path. We've got CodeKey, which will allow you to do all kinds of programmatic interaction without having a subscription. So there's a bunch of pieces there. And so, our recommendation is just like get started. Now, obviously, if you're here for the AI practitioner cohort, you're already at number 4, right? You're already chasing a certification, which is excellent, which is literally what Mumshad was just talking about, how that can be incredibly useful. If you're in the Kubernetes space, just to mention this is that the Kubestronaut and the Golden Kubestronaut are still absolutely incredibly valuable, right? Know also that Kubernetes and the CNCF is evolving over time, and you're seeing more and more of things like K-Agent or Kubeflow or Kserve. You're seeing more of or even, for example, GPU scheduling inside of Kubernetes. If you're not familiar with that, by the way, that's the ability to take an AI workload and schedule a video card to attach to that workload at scale. So like it could be 100 different like workloads being scheduled at the same time. So just know we're seeing a lot more of that. So the question we're often asked is like, are these skills still relevant in 2026? Yes. Are they going to continue to be relevant over time? Yes. But we are going to see a shift where more and more implementation is taken by AI agents because we're going to give it to them, right? And so, again, remember my analogy at the very beginning. Imagine that you are in a self-driving car and something goes slightly awry and you now have to drive, but you haven't driven in a while because you've been in a self-driving car for a year, right? And so these skills can, in a way, will become even more and more important because, unfortunately, they will probably slightly atrophy from disuse. What's the tail? This is the other question I get. Like, how long is it going to take for us to see that diminishment of skills? No one really knows, but I would say this is that every prediction that we've made in the past about technologies usually goes slower than we predict. So Mumshad and I have been talking for a while now about like, is it 3 to 5 years? Is it 18 months? Is it, like what is the time frame? And I guess the bottom line is just keep an eye on the horizon. Like Mumshad and I are suggesting, hey, build your skills, know how these things function, and do the AI stuff. Just add a little bit pieces and just slowly shift as the industry shifts. Don't worry, it won't be an overnight thing. You'll see it happening. So just keep an eye on the industry. Let us keep talking to you. We'll let you know as things shift as well. And you'll see our courseware shift as the industry shifts. So just stay with us and we'll make sure to take care of you as we see things change as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, especially to those who are really worried about becoming non-relevant in the era. I think, I don't think it's going to happen overnight, and there's we're going to have enough time to upskill, and this goes back to like the similar kind of technological trends that you mentioned in the past, Michael, like cloud. I mean, people who were I don't know, working with mainframes and stuff must have gotten irrelevant around the time cloud and everything else came in, right? So before that, there was virtualization. There was a lot of things, and we've done this a few times already. At least in my short kind of career in the past, like 20 years, started off in kind of the storage area, and then moved on to virtualization. So did a bit of work in that area, and then moved into cloud, and then DevOps and containers and Kubernetes. So we've done that. We've seen the shift happen at least a few times. Of course, this is much bigger. This is very different, and we have to move a little bit much faster this time. But this is another shift, and we just have to all kind of upskill ourselves and be ready for the kind of the next wave. So I guess no need to be worried, but and at the same time we have to be prepared.
Yes, well said. Yeah, we have to be prepared.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we shift to taking some questions?
Yep.
Okay. Let's take a look.
So maybe we'll just go from just picking the ones that I see. Software backend engineering. So software development has not been something that we've focused on as much in the past. It's probably something that we might in the future, but it's not something that has been our core area. We've been focusing mostly on DevOps and infrastructure side of things. But yeah, if you have similar requirements or requests, please do share your thoughts at requests.kodekloud.com. So there's a voting board and where you can kind of add your votes, and we kind of pick that's kind of our go-to place for identifying what our next set of courses are going to be. So please do share the details there. Course on CPU versus GPU and GPU multi-threading. So this is we recently have released the foundational material courses, and which is run by Alan, who's one of our trainers, and there are some sections there that are purely focused on GPU, and I think that's something that would be helpful. So if you check the course out, there are details there about GPU. So Didi has replied. So the next plan for him is CKADs and CKS already booked. Any advice for CKS? So sorry, there's so for CKS, I think it's kind of probably one of the hardest in the series, as you hear. So that's right. First of all, congrats on the CKA and all the best for the CKAD and CKA certifications. And I think that's a good idea to book them in. But if you've done CKA, then you have kind of done 30% of CKS, right? Now you have the other areas that you need to upscale on the security side of things. If you've done any work in that area already, then it's easy. But if security is completely new, then there are some foundational concepts that you'll have to learn, in terms of what's like AppSec and security at the OS level, basic security fundamentals, foundations, and things like that, and that can probably take a little bit of a time. But that's the main challenge, really. It's just the new area, new set of tools. But if you have some familiarity with it from your days working as a sysadmin, then it's kind of becomes easy.
Yeah, I will say also that we do have the ultimate CKS like mock exam series. And the reason that was created is because so you could practice things like Falco rules and hardening clusters and microservices and pieces like that. Obviously, it is worth noting that in addition to that, which you can take as many times as you want, with your kind of applying for the certification, like subscribing to it, you do get access to, I think, 2 killer SH runs, which are absolutely essential as well. I would save those towards the very end and stick with our stuff as much as possible and just save your killer SH runs until maybe like your final ones. But just know that like we have ultimate certified Kubernetes CKS mock exams that will allow you to practice this hard stuff. Because understanding Falco rules, RBAC, network policies, supply chain. The CKS exam is formidable and I think requires more practice than any other exam. Mumshad and I have said before that like this, it is by far the hardest of the 5. Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a tough one and a challenging one. So we'll really push you to learn a lot of things that are probably outside of your comfort zone. And I think that's the real fun part in it. Lindsay says, she only has CK80 left to complete. So that's, so I'm assuming all the other 4 are complete. So you're probably on the way to become a Kubestronaut, or probably just completing the 3. But whichever, it's a great achievement, and all the best for your next exam.
Someone asked, they said, can we please offer additional N8N courses? And so Andres Hurtado, let me just say this, is that if you want additional courses, like we have a request a course page on our homepage, we probably would need more specificity. Like what is it, like what N8 course do you want? Because we could create an additional course, we just need to know what it is that you're specifically requesting, because we have the one. So if you want something specific, just let us know. And know that like feedback, when you go to our request a course page, that feedback is highly prioritized. So any of you who vote around wanting a particular course, we look at that every time we decide courses. So feel free to go in there and let us know what it is that you're interested in.
Cool. Just looking at other questions.
LFCS mock exams coming up in KodeKloud.
LFCS, don't we have that already? We have an LFCS course, right?
Yeah, we have a prep course, and in that, I believe there is at least one, I think possibly more mock exams. So just taking a quick look now, but I'm almost positive that there are some, there's 4 mock exams actually in that course. I just looked.
Yeah.
So so there's 4 there. Mohan, just to say this, is that if you want something different, again, like go to request a course page at the bottom of our homepage and like let us know what it is that you're looking for. Because if there needs to be an additional course or a different flavor or something like that, that really helps us like understand and distinguish like what we should build for the next quarter or next year. So let us know.
Cool. KodeKloud March, that's interesting. Again, we'd love to know a bit more of like what you're expecting, but we are actually working right now. We're probably almost done putting together a merge store, so it's in progress. But I would love ideas on what would be things that you expect to see. That would be very helpful. So if you can, send us a message and let us know what would be interesting, that we'll be happy to consider that. In the works.
Very short is that before we got on, I was telling Mumshad that I lost a KodeKloud hat that was one of our original kind of OG hats that we had very limited edition of, and I lost it in New York City, and so I was like lamenting. So I can't wait to see it from a merch store. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll have that. Absolutely.
Let's see. Promise Mork was asking, like, does one need to be a sysadmin for the sake of mastering Linux before moving to DevOps? I'll give you my kind of abbreviated answer. Everything we do happens inside of Linux for the most part, or Windows. So, most of us in this space are in the Linux space. So you have to be able to manipulate Linux really well. Like it has to almost like be an afterthought. So it is recommended that you have some level of mastery of Linux before, because you won't be able to automate, write shell scripts, manipulate files. So it's kind of like something that is just required as a foundational skill. So do you need to know all the edges of Linux? No. Is it recommended?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Highly recommended. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I think we're at the time. Well, thank you so much once again, everyone, for joining us. We will not be able to do the week after because we are going to be at CubeCon. Again, if you happen to be in Europe, please do come and meet us there. If not, we're going to come back and meet again 2 weeks after that. Well, thank you so much once again, and thanks, Michael, for joining us here today. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
All right, bye-bye.